Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Balancing It All podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Kim Sheppard. Today's episode is going to be all about my story. So, whether you know me personally or you know me as your kid or your family chiropractor, I'm going to give you my whole story. So, buckle up. It's going to be a long story. Some of you have probably heard it before, but it's worth repeating because to really truly move forward and to understand what this podcast is all about, I think you have to know where I came from and what brought me to this point to basically resurge my podcast and start it in a different way. And so this is my story. So I am located, my personal office is located in Forsyth, Illinois. It's called Aligned Family Wellness, and I am a pediatric prenatal chiropractor. And it wasn't always that way. Things have changed a lot in my practice life and my trajectory. And I'm going to give you that story. So I'm just going to start with the background of just me and my family. So we live here in the community that I practice in. I actually am back home in my hometown. I was born and raised here in the Decatur, Illinois area. And I've been married for 22 years. And to my husband, Nate, he is a middle school principal here in the town that I practice and we live in Moreau, Forsyth. And so he is a huge part of my story. And so he's a huge part of the story. And I can't thank him enough for all of his support and just everything that he's ever done to support me from literally the day I started chiropractic school. Okay, I'm getting all emotional. So I have two kids. My kids are probably a lot older than most of you who are listening. So my daughter Anna is 18 years old. She is leaving for college in literally 1 week. So this is a tough time for this mama. She's going to the University of Iowa. She is going to be majoring in industrial engineering. She is a super smart math girl, and so that is why she's going into engineering. Her dream job is to build roller coasters. So she wants or design or build or work intricately with roller coasters and basically do all the engineering stuff to create the rides and create what you guys are feeling on the rides as the engineering part. So super, super cool. I have a 16-year-old son. His name is Ryan, and he is a junior at our local high school, Moreau Forsyth High School. So super active. He's a 3-sport athlete and keeps me extra busy. This year, just having one in high school actually is quite a lesser load than what we had last year with Anna being a senior. Our life was crazy last year with two kids. I can't imagine you guys that have more than two kids, if they are in activities, how you balance it all, if they're not in the same stuff, because that year was crazy. So basically, this journey started when I was about Ryan's age. When I was a junior in high school, I was trying to decide what in the world did I want to do? That's everybody's, question. What do you want to do when you grow up? So my both sets of grandparents and my parents were chiropractic patients. My dad was actually had been through quite a few traumatic back surgeries in his life, and chiropractic care was something that kept him going, before and after his back surgeries. And so my aunt was a physical therapist. And so, my parents were just kind of like, why don't you just look around, go job shadow your aunt? Why don't you think about chiropractic? When I was little, they always used to say, oh, you should be a chiropractor. And I'm like, okay, I don't even know what that is. So my junior year of high school, we went down to Logan University in St. Louis, which is actually where I ended up going to chiropractic school. And we took a tour and I learned more about chiropractic. I was not a chiropractic patient. My parents were, but at that time I didn't have your, traditional neck and back pain. So I didn't think there was a need to see a chiropractor. But I decided this is a pretty cool profession. And I fell in love with the school and the philosophy when I was a junior in high school. So I knew from that moment, this was the career path for me. So, I graduated high school. I went off to undergrad. My plan was basically I was only going to be at undergrad for a year and a half. So I went to Eastern Illinois University. I was there for a year and a half. So I left in December of 19. No, that is not true. I was only there 99. Okay, let's think about this. I started in August of 1997. I went that whole year. Then, yeah, I was there 2 years because I lived in the sorority house. I lived in the dorm. Then I lived in the sorority house. Yes. Okay. Back up to speed. Why is it so hard to remember your life? So I lived in my sorority house the second year. Then I moved home. I needed one class. So I decided I was going to work and I was going to take the class. I did a independent study organic chemistry class at Millikan University. That was terrible. And so I was home. I was, just living with my parents. I was taking one class and working. And so that was fall of 99. So happening in the background was, Nate's life. So Nate had, he was going to graduate in December of 1999, but he had to student teach. So he applied all over, but ended up back home student teaching with his dad, who's also a teacher at Eisenhower. So he's home, I'm home, he's working, he's student teaching, he's coaching football. Our parents are friends. And so we would go to church every Sunday and see each other. And I knew his younger brother who was my age. But I had met Nate once when their family came over for a dinner at our house. And all he did was talk about his fraternity. And I was like, this fraternity dude, I don't care about him. He's obnoxious. So we didn't really talk much. So when both of us were home for, working and in between, we were kind of like, oh, do you want to hang out? So I remember it so distinctly. It was October 1st. I'd went down to Logan for kind of just like an orientation, and we got home and he called me on a Sunday night and he asked me to go to a movie. It was, to this day, one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I think it was called like Three Kings or something. I don't know. It was terrible. And then, yeah, that was October and I left for chiropractic school in January. So we had only dated a couple months before I left and was living in St. Louis. So, he worked a semester at Eisenhower and then was looking for jobs. So he was applying all over and was looking at Chicago and ended up actually getting a job in St. Louis, right around Lambert Airport, which was really close to me. So we got married in April of 2002. I graduated Logan in April of 2003. And I decided, kind of in talks as we were, getting married and what we were going to do, I was going to come back home and work for my parents' chiropractors. They didn't have kids and were ready to kind of slow down their practice life. They were a husband and wife. And so I was going to go work for them. So that was the plan. So I literally graduated. And then that next Monday, I started work. Like, I didn't take any time off. I didn't travel. I didn't wait for Nate to get out of school, which hindsight is a terrible mistake. But I went to work for them. I was kind of my own practice inside of their practice. I would get some overflow patients and I would treat some of their patients when they were on vacation because they like to vacation a lot. It was a very toxic environment. They were not used to having somebody in their space. The husband was just not kind and just condescending and negative, and just, I cried the first day at work. Like, I cried when I came home. It was horrible. And so, we were just told, oh yeah, everybody hates their job. And so it'll be fine. Just keep working. And so I was absolutely miserable. So in the meantime, my sister had actually decided to go to chiropractic school. So she was about a year behind me. So she was trying to decide what she was going to do. And we were approached with an opportunity to be able to practice together with, kind of a graduated rent structure. And so I decided I had to leave this practice, that like I couldn't stay there. This is what I had to do. At that time in chiropractic school, you didn't really have like business knowledge. I had no idea how to run a business. I had no idea how to really do anything other than treat patients. So we started our practice in a one room office, in a wellness center in a building in Forsyth. And so she had barely graduated. She was driving home on the weekends to help me. It was crazy how little we knew, and yet we were still trying to put this business together. And all we knew was to take good care of people, which that's really all that matters. But so we worked out of this one room till our office was ready. So we moved into our first office, and we were sports chiropractors. We were traditional back pain, sciatica, neck pain, disc bulges. And, we had a great practice. Everything was going really, really well. And we outgrew our space really, really quickly. So we were looking for a place to expand. And it took us a while to find a place. And so we had found some property down the street, and it had a house on it. And it was kind of two different lots owned by two different people. And so one of the owners literally took the house out off the ground and moved it down the street. It was so crazy. So then construction on our building began, and we built a 4,000 square foot building and moved in April of 2015. April's a pretty significant month in my life, apparently. So we opened our new office in 2015, and we were rolling along. We had another doc join us, and we're doing well until 2020. And I knew I had been unhappy, but I didn't know why. And I didn't really know that I was really unhappy until COVID hit. And COVID hit, and I really struggled mentally during COVID. And it really wasn't COVID. Like, I was never afraid of COVID. I was afraid for my business. We were considered essential, so we were allowed to be open, but we had to do all the things, the masks and, distancing and, just trying to keep employees and trying to make sure you have patients come in the door. But my mindset on health changed during COVID. These people are just fearful of, COVID and, being sick with this cold. And yes, people were dying, and yes, it was serious, but they weren't serious about making changes in their health. And so I really learned that, your health is everything. And if you're not willing to take care of your health, then I got really frustrated. And I got really frustrated with pain and people in pain and not wanting to do anything, about their problems. And so I thought, I'm going to leave chiropractic. I'm just unhappy. I'm going to separate from my partner, which was my sister, and I'm just going to leave chiropractic. So we basically had a meeting, and I was like, I'm going to leave. I'm unhappy. I cannot work together anymore. Something has to change. And so she was like, okay, you can go and I'll stay. And I was like, well, if you stay, you have to run the business. That means you take on all the loans, you take on everything. And she's like, well, I don't want to do that. So she was like, I'm going to leave and do my own thing. You can stay and you can do all the stuff. So in that moment, I kind of panicked, and I thought, oh my gosh, I don't want to leave this career. Like, what do I do if I don't do chiropractic? What do I do? So I went home and, was talking to Nate about it, and was just like, something has to change, but I don't know what is going to change. What's going to make me happy? Because I am not happy. And the more we talked, he said, you really love to treat pregnant moms. And when those pregnant moms have their baby, like, it is life-changing for you to take care of these babies. And I was like, maybe that's what I do. Maybe I get more training, more comfortable treating brand new babies, treating, other conditions, colic, reflux, pregnancy. Maybe that's what I do. So after my partner left in 2020, then I started making that change in 21 of learning. I got certified in Webster. I started doing just more learning about babies, and then got a pediatric certification in March of 22, and really rebranded our practice. I'm like, we cannot have the name The Back Institute. That does not serve us. That's not who we are. So we rebranded to the name Aligned Family Wellness. And so that was in like kind of spring of 2022. And we have only grown and evolved since then. We found a really, really tough need last year for lactation help, that our moms were struggling with lactation. These babies were coming in struggling with nursing, and we were referring out and not getting good results, and patients just weren't they were having to drive far and they weren't getting the results that we wanted them to have. And so I was speaking to a patient who was going to be a new mom at the time, just our frustrations of, the lactation world. And she was a NICU nurse and was like, I'm thinking about becoming a lactation consultant. And I was like, you should, let's do it. You could work for me. This would be amazing. So during her maternity leave, she got her lactation certification. And in the meantime, an opportunity came up for me that I would be able to get my lactation certification. So now we are serving moms and babies in a way where basically from prenatally, we can teach them about the importance of breast milk and nursing and lactation, and how to nurse, and how much to pump, and how much does the baby need. So now we've evolved into this different way of caring for moms and babies. And so it's just been amazing. And we are now bringing on another doctor. I had a male doctor in the office, and we parted ways in July as he went off on his new venture, which was sad, but it also allowed us to grow and evolve into the people that we want to serve. And it was hard when, we were trying to serve moms and kiddos and babies. And, there was just a lot of dudes in the waiting room. And so patients would come in and be confused. And we're like, oh, those are his patients. This is who we see. So now we can fully embrace and just love on these moms and kiddos and babies in our office and care for them. And, when Dr. Kylie comes in, she will give me a chance to step back a little bit, focus more on lactation, and focus more on the podcast, and have more time to share information with you guys, and be able to do just some other side projects, like some nutrition coaching and things that I just haven't had time to do. And so things have evolved a lot in my 22 years of practice. And, I wouldn't change anything for the world, because you have to go through hard things to be who you are. I just wish I knew sooner what I wanted and was brave enough to make those changes, to completely change our practice, to completely rebrand, to niche down and only serve a certain, person, people is scary and hard. And but to do it well and to serve them so well, like they've never been served before, and to care for these moms and these babies like we do, you're not going to get that anywhere else in this central Illinois area. We are the best at what we are. And I can say that with confidence, because I know how much love and how much training we have and how we take care of people. And now I can love to go to work every day. I can be happy. I love our patients. I love who we serve. I love making, getting messages from moms that, their baby is a completely different baby than when they first came in, and how mom got sleep last night. And we're also helping, moms be able, or women be able to conceive that were not able to conceive before. So, it's just been amazing. And the ride has been crazy with a lot of ups and downs, with a lot of tears. And my family has been there to support me all the way. You know, Nate never once told me I couldn't do this. He has stood by me and has supported me the whole time. And I'm forever grateful for him. And you know, as we go along through this podcast, I'm going to share some of the things that I learned along the way, some of the ways that, you know, things I wish I had learned sooner, and ways you can be um, a stronger, more resilient woman, mother, things I would do differently as a mother. Um, and so, yeah, I hope you stay tuned, stay along for the ride. Um, but I feel like I have a lot to say because I've been through a lot and I have a lot of experience, and everything that I'm going to talk about comes from my heart and is something I've lived through. And I'm just here to kind of be that vessel to say, like, hey, look, you're not alone. You are not alone. We all struggle. We all are trying to just balance it all. And so I can't wait to come back next week and give you another episode and just pour more into you, mama, because you deserve it. And I just want to thank you for listening and taking the time out of your day to listen and to do this for yourself. Um, Follow me on Instagram. Send me a DM if you like this episode, if this was helpful, if you have a suggestion for an episode. Follow me at Dr. Kim Sheppard, and it's Sheppard. I also have the video of the podcast up on YouTube at Dr. Kim Sheppard on YouTube. So I would love for you to follow me there and connect with me. And until next time, we'll see you later. Bye, guys.